Welcome to Financial Freedom with the Flipping Flanagans, where we help real estate agents and already successful business professionals create legacy wealth through real estate. We go by the Flipping Flanagans, and we don't actually flip houses very often. When you drop the F-bomb a little too often, add that to a real estate background, you get the Flipping Flanagans. We actually buy property to hold and see long-term gains protected from inflation while seeing amazing benefits from appreciation and depreciation. See you on the other side. Welcome back. It's Jamie Flanagan. I am here alone today. I'm missing Brad on this podcast. However, we are going to be talking about a topic that I am an expert in, so hopefully you guys still get some value out of this podcast. We will be talking about how to have a profitable real estate career. So many people get into the real estate business looking for flexibility and freedom, and they quickly find out that after they get their license, it's actually the complete opposite. You end up spending so much time writing contracts, figuring out your social media, showing homes, going on listing appointments, and you really kind of lose that flexibility that you had hoped for, or you never get to see that flexibility that you hoped for. So if that's you, then this episode is speaking to you, and I hope that you get a lot of value out of it. So I have been licensed as a real estate agent since 2009, 2010, and I have done a lot of things really well, and I've done a lot of things really wrong. And so I'm hoping that giving you some insight on how we got to where we got in our business will help you get some clarity and be able to grow and scale your real estate business without getting burnt out. So there are 3 true key factors that I believe have really influenced and allowed us to grow. This is specifically talking about Big Picture Real Estate Group on the real estate sales side of things. So we treat our real estate businesses as a global kind of our own global economy. So we have our flipping, we flip a few houses here and there if we need to, or if it makes sense. And most of our stuff and our wealth has been generated through our investment side of things with our rental portfolio. But then Brad and I both have our independent businesses. So I run a real estate team in Omaha, Nebraska, and he runs a mortgage office in Omaha, Nebraska, as well as he's actually licensed in multiple states. So he's got some stuff going on in multiple states, but I am focused solely in Nebraska at this moment. So I've got 3 things that are going to be specific to the real estate sales side of things, or if you're thinking about getting a real estate license, these are things to consider. So when you get into real estate, you really have to treat your business as a business. And a lot of times we don't realize that, it's not just taking clients around and showing them houses. You're evaluating the home purchase. You're negotiating with multiple parties. You're handling every bit of communication between the lender and the title company, the buyers, the home inspectors, the appraisers. All of that falls on the agent. So we become a liaison between all of these different parties. And so I've really started, as we've grown our team, we've learned what works and what doesn't work, and we've created systems that allow us to grow and scale. So the first one, as you're navigating, is leverage. And you have to be able to, you can't do it all, right? You can't do your social media, write your contracts, negotiate, update your CRM, show houses, go on listing appointments, and you still have to be profitable, right? So a lot of people get stuck in I'm not ready to hire because I can't afford it. And I want to really encourage you to think about that you can't afford not to hire, because in all reality, there are tasks that you're doing that are going to lead to burnout. Now, right when you get licensed, no, you're not going to feel that. But if writing contracts are like doing the paperwork where you have to get somebody's initials, or just filling in little check boxes, and I'm not talking about negotiating terms, like that's your job as a real estate agent. What I'm talking about is the documentation. If somebody missed an initial, that an assistant could easily send out and get initials on the document for you, instead of you taking time out of your day when you could be doing something that's going to be profit producing for your business. So You need to figure out what your profit producing activities are and focus on those, and then begin to leverage other people's talents for the rest. Here's the thing. If bookkeeping isn't your strength, hire a bookkeeper first. Because really understanding where your money is coming from is imperative to a successful business, not just real estate. Any business needs to know how profitable they are. And I will tell you, after a lot of conversations with so many agents, they have no idea how much they actually get paid per transaction. And Brad has spent a lot of time with me and my business creating, a business planning Excel spreadsheet so that when I hire, I can put their salary in and see how it's going to impact. And I can adjust, okay, if I hire this person and they bring in X amount of sales, or they improve how many closings we have by this amount, what does that going to do for the business? And it makes making those hiring decisions a lot easier, and understanding and holding the person that you're hiring accountable. Because if you hire somebody knowing that, hey, the goal is for us to be able to double our business because you're taking this task off of us, and then after a year your business hasn't changed at all, well then there was a disconnect there. Something happened. Somebody's not doing the job that you hired them to do. Or actually, the next topic I'm going to cover is delegating. So the first thing you want to leverage, so you need to hire people to do the tasks that are not your best use of your time. Well, once you actually hire, now you have to make a decision that you're actually going to delegate those tasks. And if you're anything like me, you like to have control over every aspect, and you take it really personal when things fall through the cracks. And something I've developed throughout the years after lots of, high-level coaching is you have to let some things fall through the cracks, and that to be a learning experience. Life is not perfect, and if you want to avoid burnout, because everything can be perfect, but if you eventually hate what you're doing because you're burnt out, well, nobody won, right? So learning to delegate the tasks and learning how to communicate what your expectations are. And so delegating, what I have done in order to successfully accomplish this is I have time blocked everything in my calendar. So for example, this podcast right now being recorded was in my calendar. I'm a little bit behind, but it was in my calendar and time blocked. So everything I do daily is time blocked. For example, earlier today, I spent some time with our property manager, Paula, and taught her how to input bills into our system, and then how to pay those bills and how to reconcile and make sure that there weren't duplicates, etc. But that went into my calendar. So I dedicated a certain amount of time. That way, when I'm hiring somebody, I can actually evaluate my calendar, and in the description of my calendar time blocks, it says what I was doing. So then if I know, hey, I've been spending a lot of time working on the property management side, it's time to hire somebody, I can actually go through my calendar and I can write a job description based on the actual items that I was doing. And then the person can see, okay, this is what I was doing. Is this, and you can interview and ask questions accordingly. But then you can also delegate very easily. So then if I have something in my calendar that I do on a weekly basis, for example, paying the bills, that was something I used to handle. I don't handle that anymore. And so what I can do now is invite that new hire to that event. And then once they're trained, I can remove that from my calendar. And I've now opened it up, delegated it using leverage. So that to me is a system that works really well. Everyone's going to, there's softwares out there that you can create task lists and all kinds of different things. But the calendar blocking, that's what works for me. My team now knows, because I will send a calendar invite, they will actually go convert it into a task in Asana. That's what we have been using now for task management. And I'll see that the task went through, and then it gets removed out the calendar, and I know it's taken care of. So for me, my team has really, it's been awesome because they've learned how I work well and I've learned how they work well. And we've now been able to accomplish a bigger goal together because we've been able to communicate effectively and leverage all of our talents. And so the final thing that I'm going to dig into is profitability. And as I mentioned before, so many agents don't actually know what they're getting paid. And you would never go to another job without understanding your compensation structure. And unfortunately, people get into this business and something shiny hits their email and it's only $97. So okay, yeah, that looks like a good thing. And then they pay the $97 and all of a sudden you're subscribed to all these things, but you're not holding any of them accountable in your business. So you really have to know when you're making a decision, when am I going to spend time implementing this? Put it on your calendar. And then how are you going to hold it accountable? Some things that you get are not necessarily to bring in business, but more for brand awareness. But is it going to take time out of your day to actually implement that? So it might only be $97, but when are you actually going to take the time out of your day and spend the time doing it? For example, we're having a boot camp the first week of June for real estate agents to learn about a real estate career as well as how to have a profitable business. So this boot camp is designed for future real estate agents as well as real estate agents who maybe are listening to this right now and are like, I actually don't know how much I get paid per transaction, or I'm not holding my expenses accountable. That boot camp is for you. However, when you sign up for it, you want to make sure that you're actually time blocking your calendar and showing up, because you have to hold that time accountable. I am going to make sure that I bring the knowledge and the education and the worksheets to allow you to leave that boot camp knowing that it was a phenomenal return on an investment. And it's free, but I want it to be a phenomenal return on your time, because time is money, right? So as we were talking about how to run a profitable real estate business. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through what I feel in that boot camp. We're going to be talking about what do I feel are items that are required and to allow you to be profitable, and what are some things that maybe we've tried and we would not recommend doing. And I'm just going to share a little bit right now is really why we got into investment properties is we wanted that flexibility and that freedom. And so we had a goal number in mind. Okay, we're going to buy this much volume. We don't look at it by door. We're looking at it by how much income we're getting off of the properties or how much equity. So if we want to have $10 million by the time we retire, how many properties do we need, and what kind of amortization schedule and what kind of income do we need to get off of those, and depreciation and all of that. But as you're looking at that, you can use an investment property in so many ways. You basically gain control of the entire transaction. So if you are, you close on an investment property, you get to go on social media and talk about that investment property. You get to educate potential investors on what you did, how you accomplished it. You get to share. You don't have to get your client's permission to go take a picture in the house or do updates or whatever. So if you decide to flip that house, you can do that. If you decide to rent it out, you can do that. You get to choose what updates versus having a conversation with your client about carpet and coordinating around somebody living in the home. So for me, investment properties was a way for me to get inventory and be able to control the transaction 100%. And it allowed me, if I, while we were updating the house, let's say it was 6 months, I was able to do coming soon, open houses and get buyer leads off of it, or host a pick your neighbor open house and invite the neighbors over to see the updates that we have done, or we just got it staged, we're going to invite the neighbors over. Like, you're generating relationships through this property that you purchased without having to coordinate around a seller's schedule. So I really, encourage, and I feel like if you have a real estate license and you're not leveraging the being able to purchase and utilize your own properties, you're missing out on a huge lead gen opportunity, because we're paying Zillow. I'm not paying Zillow, but I used to pay Zillow, used to pay Realtor.com, and agents are paying money for these leads when you could actually take that same amount of money, invest it into an asset, and come out ahead. You can come out profitable. You can come out with demand, and you've now become an expert in your field because you're showing off the fact that you're doing it, you're living it, you're breathing it. And so I just encourage you, if you thought about a career in real estate, have you thought about an investment portfolio as part of it? Have you thought about flipping houses? And flipping houses isn't like necessarily where you have to go knock down walls and change, structural anything. It could simply be there's somebody, your neighbor doesn't want to go through the showing process, or they don't want the people to know that they're selling their house. So they ask, hey, would you be willing to give me an offer on this? And, maybe it needs a deep clean and some carpet and paint. that's a flip that most people can handle by the time, and minimal cash needs to go into the property and you're going to get a return on it. And as long as everyone's on the same page about, they know that you're going to make a profit on it because you're willing to do that work and you're willing to close quickly, there's circumstances that always allow for a deal to be had in any market. And so I just encourage you, as you're navigating and thinking about a career in real estate, or if you're feeling burnt out as a real estate agent right now, what could you add in as something that could offset what you're doing while creating opportunity for yourself, for your team? And Brad and I just closed on 21 houses, a couple weeks ago. And this came out of a conversation of FHA and VA buyers are not getting homes right now in this market. And coincidentally, Steph on my team works with an investor on a regular basis, and he has made a decision to sell. He had made a decision to sell all of the single family homes, and we saw an opportunity. So we took it to our bank, and our bank, they actually were really fond of the idea, and so we purchased the houses with the goal of selling them to and accepting FHA and VA offers. So we're doing it a little differently. This is going to help our community. It's going to help the first-time home buyer, the military, the veteran that can't get a home because they can't compete in this crazy market. So we're able to bring inventory to the market, and this is going to, in my opinion, it's a great thing for lead generation. It's a great thing for business and branding. And so there was a huge global impact by this purchase, and it's a lot of work. My team has a lot. Marketing 21 homes is definitely not an easy task all at once. And we've got, tenants in there. So now, we're not saying that this is easy. I'm just saying you want it to be profitable. And so as a quick recap, we talked about just avoiding burnout. And the thing also that I think is really important about the investment part of it is, sometimes I don't want to people, right? I people a lot. I love people. I love my team. I love my clients. And the investment property side of things, sometimes it's nice just to go into a vacant property and spend some time painting. Like, yes, I can hire it out, but for me, that's peaceful. I feel accomplished, and it's like an immediate sense of I did something and I was able to regroup. I was able to just sit in my thoughts, which I don't know about you, but we all stay so busy that we never are able to just be alone in our thoughts. And that to me is like one of the really cool things about investment properties is I'm able to actually spend some time and business plan as I am doing something that's going to help our investment portfolio or help my real estate business. So just a couple of things to think about as you navigate the next stages in your real estate career. And if you're not licensed yet and you're interested in getting a real estate license, I'd love to talk with you. You can shoot me a DM on Facebook or email me. Super easy to get a hold of. And as always, we are going to be going live in our Building Legacy Wealth group this week. And our free boot camp that we're hosting in June is going to be also held live in that Facebook group. So hop on over to Building Legacy Wealth. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Please leave us a good review, comment, DM me with topics you'd like to hear about. We'd love to hear what you guys are interested in, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We hope you'll hit that subscribe button to stay in touch. Also, join our Facebook group at Building Legacy Wealth Through Real Estate to find out more about what we do and what we offer. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.